Now, a lot of gym owners have been freaking out recently after the Andromeda change and complaining that costs are going up, ads are harder, leads are less qualified, and so on. So a lot of gym owners think that ads have got worse, but that's not what actually has happened. I've been running ads to fill gyms for over 12 years now. I've filled dozens and dozens of studios and helped trainers all over the world. Our company runs Facebook ads successfully for studios and gyms all over the world from all different countries and continents. So we know in real time what the data suggests because we're spending thousands and thousands of dollars per day in ad spend to fill local studios. And what's really happened is what I'm going to break down in this video. I'm going to talk about what Andromeda has actually done and how you need to adapt going forward. So what Andromeda has done is it has exposed weak gym business systems. And what that means is that the old way of marketing now, such as having weak low barrier offers, free cheap trials, bait and switch challenges, having weak follow-up systems, and overall having weak economics is now going to come back and bite you on the butt if you're relying on those things. So a lot of gym owners are feeling the pressure. There's a lot more competition out there. Markets are getting a lot more saturated, and that means you need to raise your game. Andromeda has been built for those gyms and businesses who have raised their game. So if you do things the right way in the business model, you're going to love Andromeda. If you're doing things the old way, trying to rely on getting $2 cheap leads, it's not going to be so good for you anymore. So a lot of gym owners are now feeling this, right? They're realizing that ad costs used to be lower, ads used to work better for them, same ads they used to use don't work anymore. Many complain that lead quality is worse, they have more competition, Meta feels inconsistent, they might get leads but they're not making a profit. They see other gyms growing but they think that there's stalls, right? And some gyms like ours are scaling aggressively. So what's the difference? What's changed? And that's what I'm going to break down in this video, because the gyms winning after the Andromeda update, they're not necessarily getting just cheaper leads, but they're extracting more value from every lead. And that's probably the main takeaway I can start you with, is that if you think you're going to win Facebook advertising just by getting the cheapest leads, you're playing the old game and it's not going to work anymore. So the old belief basically is that if the ads are expensive or more expensive than they used to be, then Facebook is broken, right? And that's not actually how it is. The new belief is that the higher ad costs are exposing the weak offers, the weak funnels, and the weak systems. So I've always done my adverts for the last 12 years. If you followed me on Facebook or other platforms, you'll know I was telling gym owners a decade ago that you need to follow the principle that I first heard from Dan Kennedy, which was whoever can afford the most to acquire the client always wins the market. That is the number one guiding principle that I've used to successfully run Facebook ads to get gym and PT clients for over a decade. And now it's becoming more and more true. So that's what you have to think about. The goal is not who can get the cheapest leads. It's who can extract the most value from the customer. And I'm going to show you what that involves and what that means. So what is actually happening with Andromeda as a technical system? Basically, the matching is now broader and less predictable. So it's not so much based on like targeting signals that you give it. They're relying more on the behavior. So you put up a broad message and it's kind of tracking who responds. The AI is looking at who is responding to what. And that is basically telling Meta to find more people who match those descriptions. So that means that it's your creative, the copy and the videos and images you use is what matters more to attract the right people, not necessarily different complicated targeting options. Okay, so we advertise quite broad in a sense, and we just get feedback from the AI quickly. So when there's more competition, there's going to be higher lead costs. That's just simple supply and demand. So if you have weak economics in your business, meaning you've been selling a low ticket offer, which in a sense is a bit like lazy marketing, because anyone can sell things just by being cheaper. When a market is saturated, then the customers are now looking for quality and they're happy to pay for it. So we need to be attracting those kind of people, not trying to lure people in with low barrier offers, cheap trials, free trials, and definitely not with bait and switch, get your money back challenges. Okay, again, that worked when leads were $3 and you were the first one in town doing it, but it's not going to work from this point onwards. So what this means is that the gyms that are struggling right now, they're running the same tired ads. They have the weak or low commitment offers. They're also very slow to follow up with their leads. They don't have a good lead follow-up system in place. They have poor booking and sales systems. They have weak retention and low lifetime value if they even do sign up a client. And then they blame the ads because they're not making as much return on ad spend on the front. But the gyms that are still scaling right now, including all the gyms that I personally mentor, who are growing by at least 10 to 15 new high-paying clients every single month, here are some of the things that we do when we run their ads for them. Number one, we're creating a lot more volume and unique creatives. So the videos, the images, it's not just one set advert. And it's not just the way we used to do is, you'd have one copy and one image, and maybe you would change one thing in the image, like you change the color from blue to red, or maybe you would change one hook in the title. So again, that's the old way of doing it. Meta now demands a lot more creative value. So basically all the different ads you run should also have unique hooks and angles, and every advert should tell a unique story and should not look like or not at least not be similar to or identical to other ads you have running. So you need more variety to capture a lot of different pain points in the market. You also need to have a strong, high value offer. You need to be unique, you need to stand out. And to stand out in a saturated market, you need to offer more value, more transformational value than anyone else is offering. Now, I've got other videos on the channel about how to put an attractive, strong offer together, but just know that you need to be offering something that is going to focus on attracting people who want a transformation, not a trial. That's going to allow you to charge more money up front, not do any bait and switch or free trials, and you're going to make money fast back on your ads. You also need fast follow-up and nurture systems. So again, leads are more skeptical than ever. Okay, you need to have a good follow-up system. So when someone does request info, you follow up quickly, you use a range of communication, and you need to get them booked in. Because if you want to sell higher price, you're going to need to meet with the prospect in person. You won't be able to do it over a chat, and you probably won't be able to sell a high value offer over a quick phone call. You now need to increase the level of quality that you give to that prospect. So you need a booking funnel in place. And then when you do make the sale, you need strong retention. You need to keep those clients longer, charge them more money, get better results, offer more value, and just see ads as part of the system, but not your savior, not the one thing that's going to scale you to the moon necessarily. So again, the gyms that are working, they're not necessarily getting cheaper leads than you. In fact, we're probably paying more per lead than a lot of other gyms, but we don't mind paying more because we still make the money back because we're charging in a lot higher prices. So we might pay $15 a lead, $20 a lead, sometimes $30 a lead for a semi-private program. But if we close a $600 package back, then we only need 10 leads to make one sale. So we might have a $200 or $300 acquisition cost, but we make $600 upfront. And then we ascend 70% of those people into recurring revenue. So we still make a 10 to 20x return on investment, and we can keep running ads whilst our competitors, whose model breaks if they don't get cheap leads, those guys are getting priced out of the market. They can't afford to run ads anymore because their model only works if they get the cheap leads they got 6 years ago. So you have to adapt with the times. So again, guys, the post-Andromeda solution, number one, you need a lot more creative volume in your ads, more hooks, more angles, more variety. Don't use the same tired old formats. Try different things. And volume beats perfection here. So I recommend you're putting up at least 5 to 10 new creative ads every single week. Yes, that takes more work. Yes, it makes making more videos, but that's what the platform demands. 2, you're going to have better offers. So again, stop the cheap, low commitment offers. Stop trying to get by with discounts. You need stronger positioning. You need to look at premium front-end economics. Again, that means being able to charge at least $500 on the front end so that you can easily cover your ad costs. And to do that, it's not a marketing trick. It just means you've got to offer better transformation and higher value than all your competitors. Okay, 3rd is having a better, robust booking system. So you need fast speed to lead. All your leads need to be responded within 3 to 5 minutes. If that's a problem for you, then pay someone to take over the phone. Otherwise, your customer service is lacking. You need good nurture and indoctrination. You need to pre-qualify your leads before you speak with them. Okay, if you don't do this, they'll show up, they won't know what you do, you'll spend forever explaining, and then they get a shock about the price when you give it to them. You need to nurture your leads by educating them on what you do, who you do it for, how it works, show them the perceived value so that when they show up, they expect this is not going to be cheap. You need a lot of multi-touch follow-up and get them to book that consult. Okay, this is where most studios actually lose money on their ads. Most studios can get leads at a relatively good price. They can close an okay number of sales if they speak to them. But this here is where the system breaks for most people. They don't have a good follow-up or nurturing system, and they're just paying money to send leads into a broken funnel. Then you need better sales. So you need ongoing sales training. We can all always get better at selling. This needs to be your number one skill in the business. So again, I've got more videos on the channel going into all these kind of sales strategies, but ultimately you should be looking to close at least, I would say, 60% of the consultations you speak to. So 6 out of 10 appointments should be closed into a higher value package. That's the numbers that we see across the board, and that justifies us paying those higher cost per leads. And then you need better retention and maximizing lifetime value. So strong onboarding systems, get clients good results and experience, make sure you're tracking progress and showing it back to the customer more than ever before. Of course, you need good community and retention systems. And then you need systems in place that maximize the lifetime value, that generate more retention, generate referrals, generate upsells. You need to bake these into the client journey. And again, I'll have another video on the channel about the client journey in full and exactly how we do this. So strong retention is what protects your profit and allows you to run ads and pay more than your competitors. So again, the real edge after Andromeda is to build a system that makes higher ad costs irrelevant. You see, this is the mindset shift. Most studio owners and ads agencies are still trying to ask, how can I still get super cheap leads after Andromeda? And the answer is you can't. That's not the game anymore. The same way that if you tried to buy real estate in Dubai 50 years ago, when it was a desert, you could pick up a piece of land pretty cheap. But now Dubai is saturated with skyscrapers and buildings. That same plot of land will cost you 1,000 times more. It's the same thing on Facebook. It's just advertising real estate. It's not going to be as cheap as it was, and now it's cheaper than it's going to be in the future. So your system needs to adapt so that you can generate more revenue back per lead. You make more sales at higher prices with more retention, and then you're able to pay more for the lead. You're able to pay more for the customer. Because remember, whoever can afford the most to acquire the customer always wins the market. Okay, so hope that helps. If you want more help and you want to join our inner circle where we give you all the ads that are working right now and we teach you really in depth on the full offer, funnel, and ads system, check out the link below, and I hope to see you very soon.